Welcome to The Explainer. So, we all know railways connected 19th century Britain, right? But what if I told you they did a whole lot more than that? New research shows they were the actual engine that decided the nation's destiny, forging a country of cities way faster than anywhere else on Earth.
Okay, let's dive right in. To really get this, we need to set the scene. Picture England and Wales in the mid-1800s. The whole country is in the middle of this massive, totally unprecedented transformation. The population was absolutely booming, people were on the move like never before, and the very fabric of society was being rewoven right before their eyes. But the big question researchers had was, what was the real engine driving this incredible shift?
And the reality of that change was, well, dramatic. Take a look at this. In 1851, the country was almost evenly split between people living in cities and people living in the countryside. But fast forward just 40 years, and wow, nearly 3/4 of the entire population lived in urban areas. This wasn't just a little bit of growth, it was a complete rebalancing of the nation.
So, let's introduce the prime suspect behind this whole transformation. That revolutionary, steam-belching, world-changing technology we call the railway. After the very first steam-powered service kicked off in 1830, this massive investment boom, called railway mania, just took hold of the country. I mean, at its peak, the money being poured into railways was more than double what the British state was spending on its entire military. And all that cash led to this rapid, kind of chaotic, but totally transformative expansion of the network. And you can see the sheer scale of that growth right here. The map on the left, that's the network in 1851. Pretty impressive, but still kind of concentrated, right? Now look at the map on the right. Just 30 years later, it's like the railway's iron tentacles reached into almost every corner of the country. The network literally doubled in size. Okay, so here's the crucial point. Did the railways actually cause this urban boom? Or were they just built to serve towns that were already growing for other reasons? You know, it's that classic chicken and egg problem. To solve this puzzle, researchers had to get incredibly creative. They needed a way to isolate the railway's true impact from all the other economic stuff going on. I mean, you can't just compare towns with stations to towns without them, because the places that got stations were obviously chosen for a reason. So they came up with this really clever method. First, they mapped out the cheapest, most efficient routes to connect Britain's 100 largest towns. It's this hypothetical network they called the least cost path. Now, any smaller town that just happened to be on that path, well, they basically got a station out of pure geographic luck. By studying these inconsequential places, the researchers could isolate the true effect of the railway itself, totally separate from any pre-existing economic potential.
And here's the amazing part. Their model actually worked. The blue lines you see on this map show that hypothetical least-cost network they designed, and the red lines? Those are the tracks that were actually built by 1851. Just look at how closely they match up. This remarkable overlap proved to the researchers that their whole inconsequential places approach was a really solid way to measure the railway's true impact.
So let's get to the verdict. This whole thing builds a really powerful story of clear winners and losers, with their fates often determined by one single factor: whether or not they had a train station.
The data revealed this startling pattern, and you can see it perfectly in this graph. That vertical line on the left is population growth, and the bottom line is distance from a railway station. See how the curve starts really high? That means towns right next to a station saw a huge boost. But look what happens as you move just a few kilometers away. The line dips below zero. That's what they call the displacement zone, where towns actually shrank as people and businesses were pulled towards the railway. The train didn't just create winners, it actively created losers just down the road. And the contrast really couldn't be more stark. If your town got a station, it grew by an extra 1% in population every single year. It became a magnet for business and for jobs. But if you were just a few miles away in that displacement zone, you actually faced population decline, as all those opportunities and people moved to your better connected neighbors. So what does this all mean for the bigger picture? What was the railway's true, lasting legacy in making Britain the world's first urbanized industrial nation? Well, the railways didn't just move people around. They fundamentally rewired the entire economy. In places that got a station, the share of men working in agriculture just plummeted. Instead, jobs shifted into manufacturing and services. The railway was literally laying the tracks for the modern industrial economy. And this is the incredible bottom line from all the research. The researchers calculated that at a bare minimum,
Railways were responsible for 43% of the nation's dramatic surge into cities during this time. Some of their models even suggest the figure could be as high as 70%. This wasn't just some contributing factor, it was arguably the main driver.
As the researchers themselves conclude, this technology didn't just speed up something that was already happening. It created a completely different path, one that made Britain's urban transformation unique in the entire world at that time.
And that leaves us with a final, really crucial thought. Every major infrastructure project, from the Iron Horse to the fiber optic cables of today, completely reshapes our world. It creates new centers of opportunity, and as this research shows, it can leave other places behind. It really makes you wonder what unseen maps of winners and losers are being drawn by the technologies we're building right now.